Hello, everybody. Whew, sorry for the late start. You know how these things go, but we're here. Welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Such a global audience, I have to say, all of them, which is fantastic, which I love. My name is Chris Sev. I'm a developer advocate here at DigitalOcean. And yeah, happy Hacktoberfest, everybody. How's it going? While I'm here, while we're doing some intros, I always love seeing people in chat. Let me go check out chat. What's up, Ahmad? And let me know where you're coming in from. I am hailing from Las Vegas, Nevada, city of casinos and lights. And I don't live in a casino. I don't go gambling every day, but love it here. So I see K2 Fresh 97 from Zambia. Welcome. I got Chandra in chat, HV. Randall from Rose City, welcome. What's up, Purdue, over on Twitch? All right, awesome. Quebec and Marie. All right. Welcome, everybody. I hope everybody's Hacktoberfest is going fantastic. I looked at the clock, the calendar, and it's the 20th of October already. So we're already well into Hacktoberfest. Gali from Israel, Justin from Memphis, Santosh, what's up? Ayush from India, Pint from India. Welcome, everybody. Let me know how your Hacktoberfest is going. Do you have your 4 PRs in, MRs, pull request or merge request? We have Phoebe. Hey, Phoebe.
Hey, Chris. I am having one of those technical difficulties kind of a day today, so I am just going to be showing my my Bitmoji.
It's a really accurate Bitmoji, if I do say so.
It is oddly actually true to me.
Mine looks nothing like me. I gotta work on mine. But welcome. So for those of you for in chat, Phoebe, could you do an intro on yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So, hey, everybody. My name is Phoebe, and I manage Hacktoberfest. So, I am the person behind the scenes who is herding all the cats and helping to make Hacktoberfest a great event. So, yeah, if you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter. It's Quincy_Phoebe, and I love to hear from folks. I'm always got my ear to the ground. I want to hear how you all are enjoying Hacktoberfest. So love to hear from you. And yeah, so that's just one of the things I do here at DigitalOcean. I also manage other open source programs. I'm kind of like a little one-person open source program office. So yeah, so anything related to open source, it's kind of sits in my area, and I pay attention to it.
Yeah, Phoebe's not joking. She just is always moving, always fantastic. I don't know how you do it. We'll have to get you on stream for like a productivity tips stream
Oh my
sometime
gosh.
soon.
I don't know if that's I don't feel like I'm doing that well. I don't think I should be giving anybody any tips.
I don't know. Hacktoberfest is giant, and I feel like every year it gets bigger and bigger. So can you tell us how this year is going? How's everybody liking it? How are your ear to the ground?
Yeah, well, right now we have about 58,000 people in our Discord community, which is really, truly amazing. And it's such a fantastic community. There are lots of different channels in that Discord. So if you're looking to find projects to work on, if you need some help, we have some fantastic helpers who help us manage. They're community-based folks who help us manage the Discord community. And I would definitely join if you haven't. It's a great place to find resources. When I came on board with DigitalOcean in 2021, so this is my second Hacktoberfest that I've been running. We were kind of recovering from 2020, which is where we realized that we were unintentionally creating some harm in the community by the fervor that people had to get the t-shirts. So they wanted to get the t-shirts, so they started doing kind of unscrupulous things to get that t-shirt. Maybe some spammy PRs might sound familiar. So my big part of my job has been to help us try and get back in good standing with the community. And I'm happy to report that so far, the rules that they enacted in place in 2020 as a result of what happened have been really, really helpful in making it a much better event for maintainers to participate in and for contributors. So as a whole, the community is very positive about Hacktoberfest. I think we've regained some trust, which is really great. And this year's theme and website, I mean, oh my gosh, wow. Everybody is loving. You played the teaser as we rolled in, and gosh, it gave me chills the first time I saw it. I thought it was so cool. So yeah, I think in general, this year is booming along. And everyone's really excited about participating. I've seen lots of tweets out there, people participating for the first time. And that's one of the best things about Hacktoberfest is that you're getting started in tech, you're learning how to code, you're learning how to contribute to open source. Hacktoberfest is an amazing event to get involved with because you can network with other people, you can learn from mentors, and you can start building your resume with some of the things that you're doing through Hacktoberfest. So yeah, Hacktoberfest is just as awesome in its 9th year as it has ever been, even more so. And we can't thank our sponsors enough, AppWrite, Docker, Devtron, RapidAPI, and Novu for helping us to bring Hacktoberfest to the community because they're a huge part of how we get Hacktoberfest done. And then, of course, the contributors, you folks, like we're super excited to see what you post out there about your activities. So yeah, share those stories with the community because it's helpful for other folks too who need inspiration.
Absolutely. And everybody in chat, if this is your first Hacktoberfest, shout out in chat. Let us know. Or if you're second, third, fourth, maybe we'll see some elusive 7/8s up there. But yeah, let us know in chat. All right. So Phoebe, what's our agenda for today's stream? What are you thinking?
So today we're going to be talking about we're going to continue on a theme, which is how to do these PRs. So I know, Chris, you've got some really cool stuff lined up for us to show us how to do. And then we've got some amazing speakers who are joining us who are going to talk a little bit here and there about what's going on for them, how they're participating in Hacktoberfest. And then I'm going to be sharing a little bit about how you can be a responsible Hacktoberfestian. We really want to make sure that those contributions that you're doing are valid, valuable, and that we're not inundating maintainers with PRs, creating a lot of work for them without giving something actually valuable back to them. So, and I think, yeah, that's kind of where we'll start is potentially getting into how can you do that PR?
Yes. So we did one of these in the kickoff stream for Hacktoberfest, and I feel like that was yesterday, but it's already October 20th. So I don't have anything too amazing. What I want to do is something that is like been on my mind for a while now, something that I've been needing to do. And if you are in DigitalOcean App Platform, which is our platform as a service where you can deploy your GitHub repos to DigitalOcean. You can see I have like a good gillion here. What we have is if you create an app here, and this is something I've been wanting to do, if you click on sample apps, all of these sample apps down here are fantastic, but some of them need a little bit of updating. Like this Next.js one is pretty far out of date. So if you've used App Platform, these are great to get started and kind of see how to deploy your GitHub repos. But this Next.js one is like 3 versions old Next.js. So one of my contributions to this is kind of just getting it updated. It's, I guess, relatively a simple update, but a really important one, I think, especially when you're 3 versions old. So what the app looks like is this thing. your Next.js sample app, and I just want to go ahead and get it updated. So this shouldn't take us too long, but I think it'll be helpful for anybody that goes and forks that sample app. What do you think, Phoebe? Is that a good lineup?
Yeah, absolutely. Love to get into this.
All right, so let's go. Here is the GitHub repo for that sample app, sample Next.js, and we have ones for sample Laravel, Go, Node, all kinds of fun stuff. So let's, first of all, for Hacktoberfest, let's make sure we have the Hacktoberfest label on there, topic, sorry, and it's there, so we're good to go. Go down, see if there's any contributing guide. Always read the contributing guide to see if anybody wants PRs a certain way, or go check the issues if there are anything labeled as good first issue, anything like that to kind of help you get your feet wet with the repository. And it doesn't look like there's any contributing guide here. And what we're doing really is just changing out this package.json. So nothing too out of the realm of the contributing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to, last time we did this, we just did this all inside of GitHub UI. I'm going to go a little bit further, clone it down to my local computer and everything. So let's go ahead and fork this. I'm going to clone it to my personal. And then let's go to create fork. Now let's see, what's up, Pierceman in chat? And then now that we have this in my repo, I can go ahead and clone this down to my local computer and then start making changes. So let me go to code. I'm going to go ahead and I'm trying to use the GitHub CLI a little bit more. It's pretty fun. I'm traditionally the SSH way, but shout out to the GitHub CLI. I kind of like it. So I'm going to open up Warp. And this is my terminal that I've been using, warp.dev, really fun terminal. I'm going to go just paste that whole thing in.
Love that you're calling it the Batcave.
Where else would you put all of your fun experiments? Oh, no. Okay, then let's go with the SSH version because I'm pretty sure that one works. Let's paste that. Oh, I need to do, oh my gosh, live. All right.
This is how my morning has been going too.
Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta take that step back. I haven't even cloned the repo yet. All right, git clone, paste that in, clone that thing, open this up in code. Here we are in VS Code. Let's zoom in a little bit. Let's hide the activity bar, and we want to be inside the package.json. So the package.json, all I really want to do for this one is just update our dependencies. I have a really cool extension, a VS Code extension. If you're interested in what I'm about to do, there's like a little V button right here. It's called version lens is the extension. You click it, it kind of analyzes your package.json and says, hey, this latest one is 12. So we're pretty far behind. So let's click that. That updates. Let's click this one for React. Let's get up to 18. And let's get that one up to 18. I'll click save. Let's open up our terminal, do an npm install. And that goes ahead. Uh-oh. What do you want?
This is real coding, folks. This is like really what it's like. We can't always make it perfect.
Yeah. All right. What does this want now? You know what's bananas about this is I did this like 30 minutes before the stream and everything was golden.
Yeah, my camera was working at the meeting I had right before this one. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe somebody like threw out like little Hacktoberfest curse.
Yeah. As soon as the cameras start rolling, I don't know.
I know. Live stream gods. Thanks, Arafat. That's accurate.
All right. What is it saying? It doesn't want React. Is that what it's doing?
Conflicting peer dependency.
All right. Anybody in chat want to throw something at me?
Yeah.
All right. Let's do an npm install here. I didn't pay the money required.
Oh, a perva saying npm update save.
All right, let's do that.
Updates
Thank you.
packages and changes versions in package JSON.
All right, let's do this. npm. Oh yeah, deleting the package lock would help too, huh? All right, let's try. Ahmad says I always preferred npm check update or check package, which is a good package to check for version updates as well. Let's do the save.
I think Randall's got the accurate description of what's going on here. You didn't pay attention to the appropriate tribute while facing towards the home office of your deity.
Golly. And it says I haven't signed in with GitHub, but I am always signed in with GitHub. So let's. All right. I don't know what that is. So let's see if we can't commit this to my repo and be done with it. So what I always like clicking through and kind of seeing what changed. Next.js 10 went to 12, React went up to 18. Okay. Package lock got updated as well. So updating Next and React. So we're going to do a commit here. I like doing it from the VS Code Git panel these days. I know some of you in chat are probably like, Chris, use the git commit m stuff. And that's totally valid. There's like 1,000 ways to do these things. You could even use the GitHub desktop app. Some people are probably leaving the stream now if I say that. But let's try to commit. Let's sync changes. Okay. That's done. Now let's go create the PR. Sorry, I'm rushing because I'm flustered now because all of our stuff just didn't work.
I love watching the chat because what's happening right now is some people are contributing on their repos too. So this is really cool. Getting in and coding with us, elbow to elbow.
This is why I love streaming, is because it's essentially I just like make mistakes live and then people fix it for me.
That was your ulterior motive all along.
All along. I like pressing this little contribute button. GitHub does a nice job of surfacing that. Open PR here. And this goes back against the original DigitalOcean sample Next.js repo versus the one that I forked. Updating Next and React. And then usually it's really nice to like give a little bit more. Updating Next.js to 12. Updating React to 18. We'll create that PR. And Kamal, who is one of our coworkers here at DigitalOcean, let's bother him.
Yay, Kamal.
And there we go. And I have access to merge the PR since I'm part of the repo, but normally you'll have to wait for the maintainers. So something that should have been a very quick PR turned into a much longer PR.
One thing I wanted to mention about PRs is Chris was awesome and put together a great video if you want to walk through the steps of how to do this kind of on your own time with our DigitalOcean Cloud Haiku repository. And what's interesting is that we had a ton of people who saw Chris's video and they were so excited about it. They went out and they did PRs to the Cloud Haiku, which we love, but they just copied Chris's poem and they didn't create a unique poem. So I really wanted to call that out as like, this is a great example of how we really want to pay attention to the contributor notes, like how you're supposed to do things. And then also just remember that there is a maintainer on the other side of that project who has to go in and look at your PR and review it. And so if there's, a couple hundred PRs of the same poem and you have to reject those, it's kind of a sad experience rather than a positive, happy one. So
Quality PRs.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's our demo.
And let's see. It looks like We've got some folks in the chat who are making some great recommendations here on some different tech. Somebody was having trouble getting into GitHub earlier. All right. Well, does anybody have any questions about what Chris just showed? If not, I think it's time for us to bring on some of our awesome speakers today.
All right, who's up first?
Hey,
Lisa.
Speaking of maintainers of Cloud Haiku.
Hi,
I'm sorry,
how's
Lisa.
everyone doing? That's all good.
If you are contributing to the Cloud Haiku repository, Lisa is one of the very people who I am talking to who is going to be looking at your PR. So behave.
I'm just trying to bring up my slides that I have. I have some pictures.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Lisa, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your history with Hacktoberfest?
Yeah, I'm wearing last year's Hacktoberfest shirt for the occasion. So I'm a previous DigitalOcean alum and one of the people who conceived of the Cloud Haiku. I wrote a lot of tutorials about Python. So if you are still, for folks who are on the community side of DigitalOcean, you may have seen some of my work there. Currently, I'm at ChainGuard, which is a software supply chain security startup. So some of the things that I wanted to talk about today were around security and open source. But yeah, I'm very excited whenever people get involved in open source. Hacktoberfest is one of my favorite things of the year in open source to help more people get involved because we need people from all different communities to be part of open source. Let's see. I'm not sure if somebody else needs to. Yeah, there you go. Thank you so much. So here is my my first slide. So this is I hope it's not too gross at the time of day you're at. So this is the gum wall at Pike Place Market in Seattle, Washington. It is one of those interesting tourist attractions, and maybe if you happen to find yourself there, you might take the gum you're chewing out of your mouth and put it on the wall to contribute to this wall of gum. However, you may not actually want to pick up one of those pieces of gum off the wall, or you don't know where that gum came from. You don't know the bacteria that's coming with that gum that you find on the wall. And you probably don't want to risk getting sick, right? But if you think about how a lot of us build software today, we are actually just leveraging packages and dependencies that we're not checking where they're coming from. And we're not looking to see like the provenance of that. We're not looking to see if those packages are secure. We're not looking to see if there's any common vulnerabilities that are in those packages we're using. And of course, we want to leverage like the work of others so that we don't have to start from scratch. But it's important to kind of think about what it is that you're putting into your software, because like, what are you running on your machine? What are you deploying to your users? And are we sure that we know where everything is coming from and that they're all secure? So I want to give a little analogy about security from my older industry. So if you go and open a bank account, right, you go to the bank, they're going to ask you for your ID. The bank doesn't actually know, like they don't actually issue you that ID. The ID is coming probably from a local or national government, but they accept that ID because they trust where that ID is coming from. They trust the government. There's this issuing body that they know verifies your identity. So you show your ID from this other body. The bank account will let you open your account. So here's your ID. There's like a root of trust that underlies all of this. Then what will happen is you will open this bank account. The bank account will be part of a database, or in the old days, it would be part of a ledger, and this bank account number will be tied to your identity. So whenever you want to deposit money into your bank account or debit money from your account, it's all tied back to your identity, and there's this whole like ecosystem around that. Then you might get a bank card, and then if you want to go to the grocery store or whatever and use your bank card, you might use your PIN, you might use your signature, but this signature or PIN attests to your identity, and it's all tied together. So this is actually pretty similar to how a project that I've been working on works, and it helps to make developers' lives a little bit easier when they're dealing with this whole big thing of the software supply chain. So this is just like a quick overview of what the software supply chain looks like, and that there are just lots of opportunities for threats and vulnerabilities at every step of the way. I think when we're thinking about open source, we're probably thinking a bit more about like the dependencies that we're using, like all the open source that's underneath what we're doing. But when we are open sourcing software as well, we need to think about this whole ecosystem, like the code we write and the getting to the build and the production. So we have these two projects within the Sigstore suite of projects, and this one is Cosign, and Cosign is basically doing some of that work that we talk about with the bank, right? Where we're signing the code that we write, we're signing containers or other software artifacts, and that attests to where that we are the ones who made the software. Other people can look and make sure that those signatures are right and that they're tied to an identity that we trust. So this helps to kind of create that trust throughout the whole ecosystem, and so that we could check to know where the software is coming from. We could check to see when those things were signed, if anything has changed since then. And the other thing is this new project under Sigstore, which is called GitSign, that allows you to sign your Git commits. And this is something I've been using a lot. So this connects your Git commits to an OIDC identity. And that's basically when you're doing those workflows where you sign in through Google or Microsoft or something, and it's an OpenID Connect identity. And this is much easier than using GPG keys, which has been one of the ways to sign Git commits previously, and still is used. But this is a project that I definitely recommend looking into, so that you could attest to the fact that you're the one who is actually originating your Git commits. And we have opted two of the Sigstore projects into Hacktoberfest. So there's the Sigstore Docs project, because I know we were talking a lot about low code or no code contributions, and this is a resource that you could learn about Sigstore and also contribute back to it. There's lots of issues that we have open, and I'll continue to open new issues through the end of forever, I guess, but definitely through the end of the month, to try to help more people get involved. We have a docs channel in the Sigstore Slack, and I can tweet all of this out after I'm done talking. But it's a really nice community. We're very security focused, and we want to help to make open source more secure. And the other project that's opted in is the Cosign project, which is the one that enables people to sign. And yeah, finally, there's the Cloud Haiku. So if you haven't done this, but if you haven't opened a pull request before, it's not too late to do it. This is a way to get your feet wet. And yeah, as Chris did a video of it recently, and there's also a tutorial on the DigitalOcean site about this, and you could contribute cloud infrastructure poetry.
Thanks, Lisa. That was amazing. I have to just say, I'm from Seattle, and so I'm very familiar with the gum wall. And this is what I want people to know. The smell is crazy. Like when you're walking through it, you can smell all that fruity, minty gum. It's really strange experience.
Yeah, that's what insecure software smells like too.
The smell of insecure software. I love it.
So are you saying it was like a good smell, or it's not, like it's a stay away?
It's just strange. It's not.
Okay.
I don't know if it's It's neither good nor bad. It's just strange.
Lisa, that analogy is, I think, everything. I like, as soon as it landed for me, I like wanted to peek into my dependencies and just start like being suspicious of everything down there. So thanks for
Yeah.
that. I think that'll haunt me for a while.
Don't try to haunt you, just try to make open source better.
Yeah, I haven't had been part of a lot of conversations about security in open source, so I think there's a really huge issue that isn't getting enough attention. So I really appreciate you coming on and talking to us about it, Lisa. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, and thanks for all the work you all do on Hacktoberfest.
Well, thank you. Okay, well, I think we might have Brian Barenhausen, and I might be saying that wrong.
Pretty close. It's Barenshausen. That was pretty great for a first try. Yeah.
I don't know if I should say the S or not. Hey, Brian.
Nobody ever does. Yeah.
Well, thanks for
having me.
I love it when I have a little bit of a delay. I'm having technical difficulties today.
Sorry.
But thanks for coming on, Brian. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, and thanks for this opportunity to spend a little bit of Hacktoberfest with you. I'm Brian Barenshausen. I'm Senior Open Source Program Manager at GitLab, and I work in the community relations team there, since my colleagues are also heavily invested in making sure that the Hacktoberfest experience for everyone is a superb one as they come to GitLab to pitch in.
Amazing. Yes, we were super excited. We brought GitLab in last year as an additional repository platform. And yeah, we're growing every year. So this is fantastic. Yeah.
We're really grateful for that. And we're really grateful because we can participate in two ways, really, in Hacktoberfest. We can participate as a platform where people can come to find projects to contribute to as part of Hacktoberfest, which is great. But we ourselves are open source, right? GitLab itself is open source. And so we too invite folks to come and hack on our platform as part of Hacktoberfest. So we kind of get to play two exciting roles as a platform for others and as a platform ourselves, where folks can lodge their contributions. So we benefit a lot from participating, and we thank you for it.
Yeah. We love having GitLab on board. I know lots of people who have multiple accounts across GitHub and GitLab, and yeah, it's really cool to see that number come up, from last year, and the number of people who are participating with GitLab. Maybe, Brian, is there anything you want to share with us in particular about kind of what GitLab is doing for Hacktoberfest this year?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I'll share. Well, I can share that. I'll start there. So first of all, we'll put some links in the chat to a couple of pages. The first is our list of pages, our list of projects that have the Hacktoberfest flag on them, have the Hacktoberfest label that you can use. You follow this link, you can go right to a landing page on GitLab that will show you a whole bunch of projects that have opted in to Hacktoberfest this year. So definitely check that out. Find a project that needs some help and roll up your sleeves and dive in. I'll also link to the general contribution page for GitLab, which is up all year round, not just during Hacktoberfest. But this is a chance to see how you can make a contribution to GitLab during Hacktoberfest or anytime. But I just want to note that we're always looking for contributions of all kinds, whether they're technical contributions, whether they're documentation contributions, whether they're design contributions. And I know that Hacktoberfest this year, a really big theme is diversifying what counts as a contribution. And so we want to make sure that everybody understands that we're open for all kinds of contributions. At GitLab, we believe that everyone can contribute, and we believe in building a world where everybody can contribute. And that means building contributor pipelines that invite people with different skill sets to contribute to the project and to the platform. So check out those links and let us know please follow up with us and let us know what you're hacking on for Hacktoberfest. I do also want to mention one thing that is relevant for Hacktoberfest, but also relevant year-round, and that is our GitLab for Open Source program. It's one of the programs that I manage as part of community relations and community programs at GitLab. So I did want to take this opportunity to make sure everyone's aware of it. The program is really designed to get a full-featured GitLab Ultimate into the hands of projects who might not otherwise have the means to access it. And as part of this program, members get free GitLab Ultimate for a year, plus they get 50,000 CI/CD minutes if they qualify for the program. And to qualify, they simply need to be a public project on GitLab, either their own, their self-hosted instance or on gitlab.com. They need to carry an OSI approved license across all their projects in their namespace. And they need to be a non-profit seeking organization, right? Maybe they're a hobbyist project, maybe they're a community, maybe they're a nonprofit, maybe they're something else, right? But if you meet those criteria, you can visit about.gitlab.com/open-source. We'll have that link too, and you can check out the application form. Definitely fill it out. This is our way of giving back to the open source community that gives so much to GitLab. So I did just want to put that on everybody's radar this Hacktoberfest. Make sure if you're an open source project and you're interested in not just learning more about GitLab, but using GitLab, check out our program and definitely apply. We'll look forward to seeing your application.
Amazing. Yes. So folks, get out there, go explore these resources and get some of those MRs in on your Hacktoberfest projects through GitLab. Brian, before you go, do you have any favorite projects of your own?
Yeah, well, I mean, I would say GitLab would be my number one. It's the open source project that I de facto spend the most amount of time working on a regular basis. But I also want to give a plug for my favorite open source tool that I use regularly. I'm not a software developer. I'm a writer and an editor by trade. And so I come to open source with that mentality and that skill set. So I got started in open source writing documentation, writing manuals for software and things like that, open source software and things like that. My favorite open source project is a project called Word Grinder, and you will find it. I can send out a link. This is a 13-year-old project that is still going strong today, and Word Grinder is a console-based word processor. Today, it would be called a sort of distraction-free writing app, right? Which is now this whole category of applications. 13 years ago, when Word Grinder came onto the scene, that really wasn't a thing. It was just a really good minimalist writing app, right? But Word Grinder is a console-based word processor that, for writers like me, is a fantastic tool. It's open source, it's open standards, and it plays well on all major Linux distributions. So I would encourage anybody who's looking for some Hacktoberfest love to check out Word Grinder. Please be kind to the maintainer. It's a single maintainer project. David is a very nice person, but he is but one person. So please be kind, but check it out and show your love for Word Grinder, my favorite open source application.
Oh, that's awesome, Brian. Thank you so much for sharing that. And yeah, again, I love that we are giving names and faces to the maintainers behind. It's one person. So don't make your day horrible by pounding them.
Yes, and he's again a wonderful person, but just one wonderful person. So, please, but always welcomes contribution to his 13-year-old project that has a small but loyal following, including me.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us, Brian, and thanks for coming on. We're so happy to see you. My pleasure. My pleasure. Thanks for the invitation. Happy Hacktoberfest, everybody. We'll see you on GitLab. Yay! All right.
Happy Hacktoberfest.
Happy Hacktoberfest. Thanks all. Take care.
We have up next is Kadasha, and I hope I'm saying that right.
It's Kadasha, so long A.
Okay. And I know you go by Lady Kerr, right?
Yes.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about
It's Lady Kerr, but on the socials, it's that Lady Dev.
Yeah, well, please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself. So we just had GitLab on. Now we have GitHub.
Hi everyone, my name is Kadesha, and I'm a pretty freshly minted developer advocate at GitHub, and I'm super excited to be here with you. That's pretty much me, to be honest.
Freshly, how freshly minted?
Like 2 months.
No, that's awesome. Congrats.
Still pretty new. Thank you.
That's so cool. And I think, do we have Kadasha's like Twitter stuff that we can throw out to the chat and send some folks her way?
Sure, I can pull that up. So this is my first time doing one of these live streams with you.
Oh, well, welcome. It's a casual thing for us. Like, we're always kind of like ad-libbing, so don't stress. It's very, we just go with the flow. But yeah, like if you want to tell us a little bit about what you're doing as far as Hacktoberfest goes over on the GitHub side. I know quite a few folks are doing different things. But yeah, tell us kind of a little bit about your projects or what you're interested in.
Yeah, sure. So I've been mostly focusing on getting the community involved on social media in Hacktoberfest. So most recently was yesterday, I posted a video on TikTok about projects that need non-coding assistance. And I know that it was based on a tweet that my coworker Rizal did, and she also recently posted a blog post on open source projects that you can do non-coding contributions to, because I think like one of the reasons I've been scared to contribute to open source is because I'm like a relatively newer coder. It's been about 2 or 3 years. And so I've been so hesitant and scared to contribute code to the projects because I don't want to break it, even though I know that's not realistic because that's not how it works. But I'm super excited to see that this year there is a keen focus on non-coding contributions like social media, blogging, documentation, translation, different type of videos. It's those things are also very important, and I love that we're highlighting this year. So my team specifically have been focused on just like social, so like getting the wider community engaged. So yesterday, which is today for us because they're based in Australia, Mish and Damo, they had a just like a Hacktoberfest chat where people could ask questions. Here is the link to that. You can listen to the recording if you want to hear what the conversation was about. And yeah, so we've pretty much just been focusing on like social stuff mainly.
That is awesome. I think anytime that we have folks in the community just sharing out resources and talking about what they're doing, and particularly when it comes to this non-code question, because it is being able to contribute to open source without necessarily having a technical background is really tricky. There's obviously a spectrum, right? We've got folks who, like Brian, who was just on, who started out writing content, technical content, and doing editing. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like one side. And then the other side is like, maybe you're a graphic designer, maybe, you're a social media.
Exactly.
You can contribute that way. How do you do that and still have your stuff count as a PR, things like that. That's kind of why we wanted to highlight this issue for Hacktoberfest this year, is because we think there are definitely more people whose expertise are not getting utilized for these open source projects, and they need the help. And so we want to raise that out there to the community, like, hey, you have skills that open source needs. And even if you don't have the technical expertise, if you can learn how to open up your command line and you can learn how to get onto GitHub and access issues and do pull requests, then you can contribute to open source. So I love that GitHub is really emphasizing this and pushing it out there to the community through these different things. And I think, do we get those links out? Yeah, I think Rizal's, I put Rizal's link in our private chat here for Akil, so he can throw that out there.
Awesome.
Yeah, because Rizal is actually going to be joining us for our October 27th live stream, which is our rap party. And we'll get to have her talk firsthand about those non-code contributions and the things that profiling.
I saw someone say that they can't find a repo to contribute to. So if you go on GitHub and you go to topics, you should be able to search for or find the topic Hacktoberfest, and that will list all the projects that are looking for coding contributions. So like that's the direct link to it. I just put in the private chat. And that would be a great way for you to find projects that you can contribute to that has the tag or the label Hacktoberfest enabled.
Yeah, I want to drop real quick. Let me throw my screen on screen. The Hacktoberfest website itself, if you go to participation up on the top nav and you scroll down a bit, in the contributor section, there's the GitHub link and the GitLab links to get to those. And then also, if you scroll down even further to the resources, there are some good websites that have lists of repos and issues that you can contribute for. And you can sort by topic. Maybe you're coding in a certain language or something. This is a good list right here too.
Yep. And Chris, while you're there, if you want to go back up to that top navigation, if you go to the section about, and if you scroll down, you'll see that we have a section about low or non-code contributions. And this can kind of help give you some ideas about how you can participate. This year we kind of decided to just focus on 3, but there are other ways that you can contribute as well. But we tended to focus on writing, design, and what we're calling advocacy. This is where, if you're giving a talk or you're organizing an event, blog posts, writing blog posts, doing podcasts or case studies, social media, those kinds of things, they all can help out an open source project. So yeah, a little bit more information there. And also, if you just search on Google low or non-code contributions, there is a ton of resources that the community have developed themselves. So some great dev articles, Medium also. So definitely recommend that if you're interested in doing something that would be considered a low or non-code contribution, that you check that out.
Yep.
Yes. And like 2 parts of it, I love that we're doing this, the low code, no code contributions, because that can be the entryway to getting to the code contributions. You can meet the maintainers, you can start chatting with them and kind of see what they like to see next for you in your progression. And it's just a great way to just jump in.
Yeah, I also think it's a great way to get some experience dealing with technical projects. Even if you're writing the documentation, you would still need to have an understanding of what the project is in order to document it. So I think it's a great way to expose yourself, not just to code, but to like working on a technical project.
Yeah, absolutely. And nothing is more frustrating than having, like, the code can be fantastic. If the docs aren't good, that project isn't going to get adopted as well. So it's important.
I know typically if a project has really bad docs, I just leave.
Yeah.
Just like, what are you saying? I don't know how to use it.
I always talk about documentation too, because like, I think it's really funny. Every developer I've ever talked to has their favorite documentation. So I'm just curious for you, what's your worst, your least favorite, or what's your favorite like documentation source?
I would say my favorite, I don't have a least favorite, but my favorite documentation site was or has been React. So far, I feel like they have really, really clear docs that I can always count on. And even the GraphQL site, I've always really enjoyed their docs and how organized it is.
That's awesome. What about you, Chris?
I mean, I don't have a specific non-favorite, but if it's essentially if I go to the README and it's blank, you're on the list. That's it. I'm out. And favorite is Laravel. I think the Laravel framework has the most fantastic docs. Like, I don't ever leave there to go to Stack Overflow. It's just all in the docs. So Brad Myrick says Flutter in chat.
Oh, nice.
Right on.
All right. It looks like somebody's in the chat is requesting listing projects which are beginner friendly. Just reiterating what Chris just said, I would check out the Hacktoberfest website and go to that participation page. But then also, you probably just Google it. The main thing we want to be careful of is that a lot of times these beginner repositories, part of the reason why you can't find like big lists of them is that we don't want to overwhelm them because there are so many people. I'll let you know that we have like right now about 140,000 people who are participating in Hacktoberfest. So if all 140,000 people hit one repo as their beginning repo, it could be a lot of work for a maintainer. So you'll have to do some shopping around. You'll have to poke around and try and find one that looks like it needs some help.
Yeah.
It may not be one of these super easy ones that, kind of like Cloud Haiku, where, it's pretty straightforward. I would say definitely Cloud Haiku is a good one to start with, but again, we want to be careful that we don't inundate them with.
Yeah.
Yes. And like one of my favorite tips is if you've been using a project or you had to like add a project to your like if you had to work with a project and you didn't like something about it, if you didn't like the docs or something was unclear, that's a good starting point. Reach out to the maintainer, see if they can add the Hacktoberfest topic or label and go from there.
I also know a project specifically called Hugbot. They're looking for someone to add quotes around their status messages. I think that would be like a pretty great or like good first issue for a beginner to do.
And what is it
The
called?
project is called Hugbot. I can link to it right here.
I just have a vision in my mind of this.
Yeah, they just want they just want quotes around their status messages. I think that would be great to do.
02 Champion said, LOL, amen. I'm a first-time maintainer and I've been trying to figure out how in the world to automate as much as possible to handle the small influx of PRs. It takes a lot of work. And the things I would recommend there is GitHub Actions.
Yes.
And also you can loop folks in to help you review. You don't have to be like an admin to review people's PRs. So if you can find some help getting folks to just review them and make suggestions, if there's minor things that need to be fixed, that's a good way to have some of that work delegated.
Yes, you can definitely do. There's an action called PR automation that you can try to use to see if that addresses your issue. So I would give that one a go. But yeah, definitely tap into GitHub Actions and add like a bot to your repos to help you to handle the PRs.
This sounds like a good candidate for a blog post if anyone out there wants to write one.
Oh, and I would be curious to know, since I am more of a GitHub user than a GitLab user, if GitLab also has something that, equivalent to Actions. That might be helpful for those folks. But, well, I think we have another speaker in the wings as I speak. And let's see, is there any last things that you want to share with us?
Not really, but I just want to say happy hacking, and I hope you all get your swag in time.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We loved having you. And yeah, we will make sure to send folks to your socials.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. I think up next we have Dima.
Hello.
Hey, Dima.
How's it going?
Doing good, doing good. Glad to be here. First time also in the Hacktoberfest event speaking here, so really excited to share about some of what we do at Novu.
Yay! Excellent. Yeah. So let's start with just an introduction, Dima. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Dima. I'm based from Tel Aviv, Israel. I am the co-founder and CTO at Novu, and I've been in the open source field for really quite a while, and I'm really excited about all the Hacktoberfest activities that are going on, and been participating in the last few years as well. And this year at Novu, we really kind of had some kind of a team session about how can we make the Hacktoberfest contributions much better, much easier for people to come and contribute. And I would love to share with you some of our initiatives and small kind of experiments we've done around that. Let me just share my screen.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. We'd love to hear.
All right, let's put it out there. Fantastic. So one of the topics I wanted to discuss here and hopefully kind of inspire also maybe other maintainers and other open source projects out there is about a small experiment and a project we've done. It was kind of sourced by our community that's called Jarvis CLI. And the whole concept around it is basically how can we improve the contributor experience of new contributors trying to contribute to Novu. So really in a few words about what Novu is. At Novu, we're building an open source notification infrastructure that basically our goal is to help engineers create better notification experience inside their apps and deliver notifications across multiple channels with an easy to use API. And 100% of Novu is open source and is driven by our community. And I think today we have around more than 800 Discord members and more than 180 contributors. And I think we've really, the number of contributors during Hacktoberfest really took it off. And kind of preparing for that moment, we've been thinking about how can we make it easier for people to contribute to code. And some of the problems we encountered that kind of Jarvis was about to solve is that Novu is really began to grow in terms of the code base size and the amount of services we have and the amount of packages we have. And setting up the monorepo of Novu became a bit harder, and there's some environmental dependencies. And how do you run a particular service if you want to contribute maybe for the docs or maybe for only the API or one of our web clients? How do you test that? And how do you actually get familiar with the code base and navigate yourself throughout the way? And we ideated a lot of great ideas that we implemented before Hacktoberfest because we really wanted for newcomers to kind of come in, being able to easily clone the repo and start contributing. It might be a low-code contributions and also more of an in-depth contributions. One of the things that I've encountered contributing to open source is my ability to actually learn about different technologies and about different stuff. And the Novu monorepo is really, we have a lot of different services and everybody can find his own kind of sweet spot. It might be a React project or a Node.js or Nest if somebody looking into how using MongoDB, for example. But again, it all comes with this kind of challenges which we try to resolve. And one of those things is basically became Jarvis. And Jarvis is really the command line tool that we created that could easily help to navigate the project using a single command. So basically, since git clone is going, installing all dependencies, running and building all the dependencies between the different packages, and being able to run them easily with a single command. And this command was really npm run start. And the goal for this was really how can we make a single command that new contributor can clone it. It can recognize itself by, hey, we need to do a clean npm install with all the dependencies, link everything, and really start the service the person actually wants to contribute to. And I've touched about some of the things that Jarvis can do. And really, this is something that came up from our community, and it's kind of progressing really nicely, and new features being added to it really on a daily basis. And some of the common things that you can do with Jarvis is basically running a specific service, maybe running a set of tools if you only want to spin up the docs part of Novu so you can contribute to it as well. And some of the ideas we had about the whole contributor experience and how we can improve it and basically make it better is around providing more context to newcomers and new contributors about how to actually contribute to the particular areas of Novu. So what we started to do is, just as Phoebe and Chris, you mentioned before, utilizing GitHub Actions to kind of help newcomers based on multiple labels we have. And basically adding and saying, hey, this issue is really about contributing to our docs or for our API. This is where you can find the code for it. And this is where you can actually spin it, how you can run tests for it, and how you can make the contributions. And I think really the whole concept of Jarvis was about kind of helping newcomers, making feel more comfortable contributing to Novu by providing them the right context and the right set of tools to navigate our growing code base. And it's really a work of a lot of people. And I think there is a lot more to explore. And I think this is something that hopefully other open source projects and other tools out there can also utilize later. And we plan to open source kind of once we figure out the different parts of Jarvis. Hopefully others can jump in and help us kind of making really a better experience for newcomers and new contributors, doing low-code contributions and more in-depth code contributions. So if you want to help, hopefully we can get the link on chat, reach out to us or to our Discord if you have any suggestions on how can we improve Jarvis with new functionalities or improve the contributor experience. And that would be it.
That is fantastic. I have to say that I wish that more people, more maintainers gave as much thought and...
I think I can't hear you, Chris. I'm not sure if it's on my end.
Test?
I can hear you. I can hear you, Chris. Not sure.
Interesting. Dima? All right, I guess Phoebe, you're...
I think actually we're going to go to Ahmad. Yay!
Hey, hello, folks. I was just watching Dima, and tech happens. Right? If it's not broken, it's not tech. So yeah.
Ahmad, this is actually the first time, and I'm so sorry that my camera isn't working, but this is the first time I get to meet Ahmad. But Ahmad has a long history with DigitalOcean. So would you share with us kind of all the various ways that you have been interacting with DigitalOcean over the years?
Sure. So if you know anything about me, one thing you would know, I love the shades of purple color, different purple colors. And early on, before, DigitalOcean was DigitalOcean, I was really excited about being able to scrap data and, being able to kind of go a little bit over bare metal and have my own servers that I could pull up through a couple of command line, queries. And that's sort of when I started interacting with DigitalOcean. I think it had like 4 or 5 employees back then. And we ended up chatting about, where, this thing was going and how, we can contribute. I've always been writing a lot of content, creating a lot of content. And one way or the other, I ended up, running a meetup for DigitalOcean, which has been a lot of fun. Like, for example, through that, I've been able to say, well, I have all 9 T-shirts of Hacktoberfest, or potentially 8. 9th one is due. But it's been a journey. I've actually seen how all of this access to bare metal, or a little bit more than that, the servers and now the app platform has helped the developer community do things on their own. Right. Even, I used to categorize myself as a front-end developer early on. And then my foray in full stack was with DigitalOcean, right? I couldn't get myself to put my credit card on AWS. And I'm like, okay, this server is going to cost me $5 and I can experiment with this and see, how my API scales or whatnot, right? So yeah, if that's anything.
Amazing. And I feel like I don't think I've ever heard that, the beginnings. Is there a place that we can find you online and just see all of your fantastic work that you've done over the years? The many that they are?
Sure. So, how about I share a couple of things? Can I share my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, let me give it a try. So, right now, hopefully, you folks are able to see my screen. Right now, I am the Vice President of Developer Relations here at RapidAPI, and we create a lot of amazing resources for you to learn API development, right? And we're part of Hacktoberfest. We are sponsoring Hacktoberfest, and we have our own watch party of sorts going on, which is a collection of a lot of amazing and completely free API development content that you can watch. And we have been specifically picked projects here that you can build, and these projects are actually open source. So I would encourage you to go to rapidapi.com/learn. You'll potentially land here. Check out all of these code labs. Check out some of our guides on how to jump into creating full stack projects. Like, for example, here's a good one: 10 interesting web app ideas that you can build with APIs. In each of these projects actually has an open source repository attached to it. So here's the real estate app, and if you go to read this guide in itself, let me actually go here. You will see that the entire guide is actually open source, and there's a little bit of hand holding as well. You get to see the entire stack on how it actually works. If you are just looking for different ideas on like why I'm sharing this is, obviously I've worked for RapidAPI and I love what we are doing here. But a lot of comments I've seen to chat today is, well, I don't know, I'm completely out of ideas and I'm unable to find a repository, which is, I think, not saying that I just cannot find a repository to contribute to, but it almost feels like, there's a lot and I need some decisions versus options, right? So that's why we created examples. So RapidAPI examples have 63 completely free open source examples that you can contribute to. Like, for example, I was just chatting with my team about this hashtag generator, right? If you go click on this one, you will see this our DevRel examples external repo on GitHub, which is completely open source. You can go read through this, source code, contribute here, and you can also try out the live preview. So let's say you're on Instagram and you're a web developer, you can actually search for a bunch of hashtags automatically through this API, right? And this is a fun project to work with. So yeah, I think that's sort of what I wanted to share about things like this. I'm gonna encourage you to try something out. We have a GitHub repository attached to this one as well. It's called RapidAPI VS Code Client. Think of it like all of your API development needs put in the environment you generally work with. That is VS Code, which is another open source editor, and you're able to work through, test all of your APIs right there in VS Code. And the feature that I am most excited about is, well, you see an API URL and you're able to just right click and create a request from it. And then once the response, you get the response and everything, you can actually click just one link and generate a TypeScript interface for it. So it's just a lot of amazing open source has helped us pull this off. TypeScript is open source, VS Code is open source, and I would really like developers here to and encourage them to go check this out and see what's out there. So if I were to summarize, you've got ideas of different apps you can build. You've got our examples repository, which has like more than 60 examples. All of that is open source. Some of it is outdated. While I was watching Chris update his, next year's example, I was actually doing something like that for our example repo as well. So contributions are welcome, and we are here. I'm here to help. You can find me on Twitter, Mr. Ahmed OS, And I'm going to drop these links in the chat. I think Chris can help me with that.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amaya. It's so amazing. It's just crazy to me when I got started in tech, just how API technology has just taken off, and it's just, yeah, what RapidAPI is doing is so cool. If you're a developer who's trying to get your website started, and like what an amazing resource this would be.
Yeah, I saw a tweet like the other day, and it said that 90% of what developers do these days is just connecting and working with APIs.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, that is what I do all day. So the tools and the examples that you've given, like that's 63 code repos, but that's 63 guides as well that all can be contributed to. So I think that's a fantastic place for everybody in chat to go look at.
Awesome. And what I'm excited about is you can also contribute to no code there because it's content, right? And if you are around there in RapidAPI Learn, you will potentially also see in our menu RapidAPI comics. Amana works with us. She creates amazing comics. And fun bit about her is she's learning to code, and she's an art student, right? So the perspective she brings to her, this journey of open learning is just amazing. How she's learning GraphQL nowadays and being able to create that analogy of a chameleon having single tongue, just like GraphQL has, one endpoint and grab anything, any insect to eat or stuff like that. So just, put yourself out there. I know it's hard, and start contributing, either no code or code. Both are welcome. Especially programmers need a lot of no-code help on documentation. So yeah.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, that's it. And yeah, the call to action for all these folks who are listening in is get out there and make your first register, make your first PR, start contributing, and even if you're not participating in Hacktoberfest, definitely get out there and help the open source community, because that's what's driving the technology that everybody's using today. Cool. All right, Ahmad, thank you so much. We're going to bring on Lucas Bernal now.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Phoebe. Hello, Chris.
Hi, hello. Lucas. Thanks for joining us. We're going to probably a little bit over today, folks, so I just want to let you know. But yeah, we wanted to make sure that we give Lucas his time because he's got some cool things to share with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me here. It's first time also joining the stream, so thank you.
Yeah, you bet. So tell us, maybe introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Lucas. I'm a senior front-end engineer at Docker. I'm based in Spain. And currently, right now, I'm in the extensions team at Docker, which is really exciting. We're kind of a new team, and we're developing these extensions. If you don't know where they are, I'm going to show you like right away. And we're promoting all these open source through extensions, which is really cool and really exciting to see what people are building right now.
Awesome. So, Chris, I don't know, like, is there anybody in the audience who is already kind of familiar?
Yeah, I would love to hear if someone have used Docker extensions, because this is kind of a new thing that we were building.
And we were so excited to have Docker participate this year. And for those of you who didn't pick that up, Docker is one of our sponsors this year, one of our 2 key sponsors. And having the extensions thing, I was really excited about, primarily because Hacktoberfest is very much oriented towards beginners. However, there are a lot of veterans who still participate in Hacktoberfest every year, and giving them something that they can work on that might be a little bit more, advanced. It has been something that we have wanted to do. And so having the extensions piece in there is really, really cool. And sorry, my calendar reminder just bleeped at me. But, yeah, and maybe talking a little bit more about how those extensions can be utilized by folks. I think that would help maybe some of the folks in the audience who aren't necessarily as dialed in that would be really cool to hear more about that.
Yeah, sure. I can share my screen and see you what I'm talking about. Let me pull this up. All right. So we created this landing page for Hacktoberfest, which you can access, and probably we can have this link in the chat as well. And here we will gather what are we doing in extensions and how can you contribute. And first, let me show you what am I talking about when I say Docker extensions. So if you use Docker in the past, you know that there's a CLI that you can use to spin up Docker containers, pull Docker images, and we have this other product called Docker Desktop, which is an UI that you can use to see your containers, images, and etc. And right now, what we're building is this extensions part, which is awesome because it will bring you every tool that you use with Docker inside of the same tool that you use. We were talking about before the RapidAPI extension for VS Code. So this would be something similar, like a marketplace where you can build your own extensions and you don't have to go outside of this world to interact with your favorite tools. So it's exciting to see what people are building, like, for example, Drone CI or Microx. Like, people use Docker with a variety of tools, right? Databases, cloud environments, testing, image registries. And as this is an open source collaboration, not only partners and companies are building extensions, also individual contributors and communities are picking up these gaps and building their own extensions for their favorite tools. Even our team builds our own extensions for our own use. Like, for example, we built this one called Disk Usage. And with this one, you can see how many disk space is taking your containers and your images inside of your hard drive. And you can just easily remove all the space that you have. And you don't have to think about, I need to remember the Docker command for this. Like, even ourselves don't remember those commands sometimes, the ones that we don't use that much. So it's good to have some utilities also as well built in the Docker desktop application. So yeah, that's basically what we're doing at Docker in the extensions team. And there's actually two things that you can do to contribute with Docker. You can build your own extension. So if you have an idea, you can just build your own extension and add your own extension to our repository that we have here. So we have created a repository with all the extensions that we have now in the marketplace and the community, who decided to also accept pull requests for Hacktoberfest. So if you're looking about open source repositories to contribute, you have a ton here that you can pick up issues. We might have some where people are picking out issues. For example, we also built this extension for volumes, which allows you to back up volumes. We have issues open here. We know some of issues can be complicated, but we also tag the ones that can be good first issue for some people. And yeah, it is exciting to see that people are like picking up things and creating pull requests here to contribute to their own to the extensions and to other people extensions as well. So that's one of the things that you can do. You can build your own extensions and you can contribute to an existing open source extension that is already in the list. Here's some guidance you can read about how to do it. And also we have some SDK documentation website that you can access, where we have tried to put everything that you need to build your own extension from scratch. And we also provide some templates so that you can create your own extension. An extension consists of a front end and maybe a back end if you need it with the technologies that you want. But we provide some templates with React because we love React at Docker, and some Go template also for the back end. So feel free to use that template as well. It's already included in the SDK when you initialize your extension. And also feel free to tell us anything that is not here, that if you're trying to build an extension and there's something that you feel that it's not explained here or something that you missed, feel free to tell us anything about or give us feedback about this. And yeah, we also want to contribute to Hacktoberfest with some extra swag that is not here yet, but literally like 10 minutes ago, I received a pretty good message with some spoilers. So yeah, we already know what we're going to give for swags. I'll share with you in just a minute. And we also are joining all these events all across the world. It seems like today is the most popular day to create a Hacktoberfest event, but we have had events in London, for example, today, also in Madrid, Penang, Dublin. There's a lot of meetups that you can join, and people are going to be building extension and sharing extensions with other people so that people can contribute. And yeah, it would be a really good opportunity to contribute if this is your first time contribute to Hacktoberfest. And we also have some resources, some videos, also some demos that we did, some demos that other people did, like this one, from our Docker captains that you can see and can help you get started with Docker extensions. And yeah, I think this is it. So yeah, for the swag, forgive me because for the presentation that I'm going to say to this, but I'm going to pull this in the screen. We have some extra swag for the people that contribute to Docker, and the best 20 contributions, we're going to pick them up after the Hacktoberfest is done. We're going to build a Docker macropath for them, and we're going to just like a limited edition keywords.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I love mechanical keywords. I have a keyword myself. But yeah.
I know. I was definitely eyeballing the keyboard. Very, very cool. Well, thank you so much, Lucas. That was really interesting. I can't believe just like I was just mentioning, like when I got into tech, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but the proliferation of things that we can do now that abstract away, some of the heavy lifting and make things easier for us. Like I feel like if we had a map of it, it would look like, like originally we had these like 3 big veins, and then all of a sudden we just get this huge proliferation of all these tiny little veins everywhere. And it's so cool. I saw that you had an extension there for Postman, which I could totally see that coming in handy for testing and things like that. So yeah, really, really cool, useful things. And I love how much Docker has done to support Hacktoberfest this year with all these events and resources. And it's just, so cool. So thank you for coming on and sharing with us. I think we're pretty much almost at time for our session today. So Chris, I don't know if there's anything we want to, sort of wrap up here with, anything more for Lucas that we have.
Yeah, no, I appreciate how much you put together to help contributors. And I feel like that's the theme of today is how many resources are out there for people to get in and be comfortable with contributing. And I think it's a fantastic example for everybody to look at.
Yeah, and it's also really grateful to see that people picking up ideas and just building their own ideas. It's not so like we put the effort, but it's at the end the people that pick up everything and build for other people just to try to make the world a better place and contribute to open source software. Like you see a gap and you build something and you help other people, and that's it.
I love that is pretty much for me the best way for us to close out today.
Thank you.
In open source, we love helping and we love making the world a better place. And these applications that we use, even if it's just making one developer's day better by making something easy, it's a great thing to help others. So yeah, get out there, everyone, and help make our world a better place. As Lucas Bertolt just said it all. Thank you so much for coming on, Lucas. We really appreciate it. Our next live stream is October 27th. And we will be having a Hacktoberfest wrap party. So we're going to try and get you to complete your 4 PRs. We'll be talking with some other speakers coming on board with us to share. And yeah, we'll be sharing some of the stories of Hacktoberfest this year and all the positive, cool stuff that's coming out. Anything from you, Chris?
No, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody get through and finish out all their Hacktoberfest things. I know there's like the week and a half left, so time's ticking, everybody. If you want to just join and kind of just push through the end, and we'll see you next week. Yeah, we have 11 days until October 31st. And so you've got 11 days to get your
fourth PR or your second PR, but ultimately it doesn't even really matter. We just want you to have a good time with Hacktoberfest. And, if you're learning something, that's the best that we could ask.
Yes. And to keep contributing past Hacktoberfest, that's the goal too.
Yes, absolutely. That's another thing we'll be talking about at that October 27th live stream is what you can do to keep the momentum going after Hacktoberfest this year, because honestly, we really shouldn't just contribute in one month of the year. We'd love to spread that out over all 12 months. So yeah, definitely.
Cool. Well, thanks everybody in chat. Everybody, if you had a great time, hope you did. I had a lot of fun today, Phoebe.
I have a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on, Chris.
Thank you. Cool. Well, thanks everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thanks everybody.